Food shortages don't start with a bang. They begin with small, unsettling changes. You might first see it when a specific product is gone from the shelf week after week. Then prices for everyday goods start to climb without explanation. Beneath the surface, the complex systems that keep our stores stocked are facing serious strain. From transportation backlogs to unexpected crop failures, the pressure is building. Most people will only react when the problem becomes a full-blown crisis, but by then, securing essentials will be a challenge. We'll show you how to prepare now, starting with 8 critical items you need to get before the shelves go bare. 1. The ultimate survival spread, beyond the sandwich. Peanut butter has long been a staple in kitchens across the country, but its role is quietly shifting from a simple sandwich spread to a critical asset for long-term food security. The ultimate survival spread, beyond the sandwich. Peanut butter has long been a staple in kitchens across the country, but its role is quietly shifting from a simple sandwich spread to a critical asset for long-term food security. As subtle pressures mount on global food systems, this calorie-dense, shelf-stable powerhouse is becoming one of the most strategic items to have in your pantry. The reasons for its growing importance are complex, stemming from a perfect storm of agricultural challenges, logistical hurdles, and economic shifts that are beginning to squeeze supply from all sides. While the shelves may still look full today, the underlying factors suggest that access to affordable, high-quality peanut butter may not be guaranteed in the near future. The journey of peanut butter from farm to jar is facing unprecedented strain. Globally, key peanut growing regions are grappling with severe climate-related issues. Extended droughts and unpredictable rainfall in major exporting nations like Argentina and India have led to significant harvest failures, reducing the global supply of raw peanuts. This shortfall directly impacts the availability of peanuts for processors in the United States, who must now compete for a smaller pool of resources. At the same time, domestic farmers are contending with their own set of problems. Rising fertilizer costs, driven by geopolitical instability and energy price hikes, make it more expensive to grow crops. Furthermore, water shortages in agricultural hubs are forcing farmers to make difficult choices about which crops to prioritize, and peanut yields are feeling the effects. These compounding agricultural issues mean that the core ingredient of peanut butter is becoming scarcer and more expensive before it even leaves the farm. Once harvested, the challenges continue to multiply. The manufacturing and distribution process is being hit by rising operational costs. Energy prices affect everything from the machinery used to roast and grind peanuts to the climate control in storage facilities. Transportation bottlenecks, a persistent issue in recent years, add another layer of complexity. Delays in shipping, whether by land or sea, mean that raw ingredients take longer to reach processing plants and finished products take longer to reach store shelves. On top of this, the cost of packaging materials, particularly plastic for jars and lids, has surged. These combined expenses are forcing manufacturers to make tough decisions. Many are passing the costs directly to consumers, leading to the steady price increases you may have already noticed. Others are streamlining their product lines, discontinuing less popular varieties like certain natural or organic options, and focusing solely on their top-selling items to maximize efficiency. This consolidation results in less choice for consumers and is an early indicator of a tightening market. From a preparedness perspective, the value of peanut butter cannot be overstated. It is an incredibly efficient source of calories, protein, and healthy fats, all of which are essential for maintaining energy and strength in a crisis. Unlike many other protein sources, it requires no refrigeration or cooking, making it an ideal food for situations where power may be unreliable. Its long shelf life means it can be stored for months or even years without spoiling. This combination of nutritional density, stability, and ease of use makes it a cornerstone of any emergency food supply. As the quiet pressures on its supply chain continue to build, the wisdom of stocking up on this versatile food becomes increasingly clear. Securing a few extra jars now is a small, proactive step that can provide significant peace of mind and a reliable source of nutrition when it matters most. 2. The crisis comfort food. Ramen's hidden warning, instant noodles, often dismissed as a simple low-cost meal for college students, are actually a critical barometer for the health of our global food supply. Their production is deeply intertwined with some of the world's most essential agricultural commodities and complex logistical networks. Right now, this humble comfort food is sending quiet but urgent signals about the growing fragility of those systems. The rising prices and occasional scarcity of ramen on store shelves are not isolated incidents. They are direct consequences of a cascade of global pressures, from crop failures and trade disruptions to soaring energy costs. Understanding these dynamics reveals why this seemingly simple food is one of the most important items to secure before a larger crisis unfolds. The foundation of every packet of instant noodles is wheat, and the global wheat market is currently in a state of turmoil. Extreme weather events, intensified by climate change, have wreaked havoc on harvests in major wheat-producing nations. Severe droughts in parts of North America, devastating floods in Australia, and geopolitical conflicts affecting exports from the Black Sea region have collectively created a significant deficit in global wheat supplies. As demand outstrips supply, prices have inevitably climbed. This directly impacts the cost of flour, the primary ingredient in noodles. Manufacturers, particularly the large-scale producers in Asia that supply much of the world, are forced to pay more for their raw materials. This cost is then passed down the supply chain, eventually reaching the consumer in the form of higher prices for a product once known for its affordability. Beyond wheat, another essential ingredient is facing its own crisis: palm oil. Used to pre-fry the noodle bricks to ensure they cook quickly, palm oil is a cornerstone of the instant noodle industry. However, its supply chain is under immense strain. Labor shortages in Malaysia and Indonesia, the world's top two producers, have slowed down harvesting operations. At the same time, environmental concerns and government regulations are limiting the expansion of palm plantations. This has created a tight market where demand is high and supply is limited, causing palm oil prices to skyrocket. Some manufacturers have attempted to reformulate their recipes with alternative oils, but this can alter the taste and texture that consumers expect, and many alternatives are also rising in price. The instability in the palm oil market adds another significant layer of cost and uncertainty to noodle production. The logistical challenges of getting instant noodles from factories in Asia to stores in North America and Europe are also escalating. The cost of international shipping remains high due to fluctuating fuel prices, port congestion, and a persistent shortage of shipping containers. These logistical snarls not only increase the final price, but also create delays and unpredictability in delivery. Wholesalers and retailers who once received steady, reliable shipments now face uncertainty, leading to sporadic empty spaces on shelves where specific brands or flavors used to be. For consumers, this is more than an inconvenience. Instant noodles are a vital food source in many communities, offering a hot, filling meal that requires minimal resources to prepare. In an emergency, their role becomes even more critical. Their long shelf life and ease of preparation make them an ideal food for stockpiling. As these warning signs continue to flash, recognizing the vulnerability of this simple food is a call to action. 3. The buried treasure: canned potatoes' untapped potential. In the world of survival preparation, certain items get all the attention, while others sit quietly on the shelf, their true value overlooked. Canned potatoes fall firmly into the latter category. Often seen as a mundane and unexciting pantry item, they are, in fact, one of the most strategic and versatile foods you can stockpile for a long-term emergency. As the global food system shows increasing signs of strain, the humble canned potato is emerging as a powerful asset. Its stability, nutritional profile, and incredible flexibility make it a hidden gem for anyone serious about food security. The factors threatening fresh produce and other staples are precisely what elevate the importance of this unassuming canned good. The primary advantage of canned potatoes lies in their remarkable shelf stability, which stands in stark contrast to their fresh counterparts. Fresh potatoes, while a vital crop, are surprisingly perishable. They require specific cool, dark, and dry conditions to last more than a few weeks. And even then, they are susceptible to sprouting, rot, and disease. In a crisis scenario where climate control and perfect storage conditions are not guaranteed, a supply of fresh potatoes can quickly become unusable. Canned potatoes, on the other hand, are processed and sealed to last for years without any special handling. They are pre-cooked and ready to eat directly from the can if necessary, requiring no peeling, boiling, or significant fuel consumption. a critical advantage during a power outage or when cooking fuel must be conserved. This ready-to-eat nature provides an immediate source of calories and nutrients without the time and resource investment that other staples demand. Furthermore, the agricultural and logistical systems that support fresh potatoes are becoming increasingly fragile. Potato farming is a resource-intensive process. It requires significant amounts of water for irrigation, fertilizers to ensure high yields, and pesticides to protect against blight. The rising costs and occasional shortages of these inputs are putting immense pressure on farmers. Climate change is adding another layer of risk, with unpredictable weather patterns like droughts and floods capable of wiping out entire harvests. Once harvested, fresh potatoes rely on a cold chain, refrigerated trucks, and storage facilities to get them to market. This entire chain is vulnerable to disruptions, from fuel price spikes to labor shortages. The canning process, however, effectively captures the harvest at its peak and preserves it outside of this fragile cold chain. While the canning industry faces its own challenges, such as the rising cost of aluminum, it provides a crucial buffer against the vulnerabilities of the fresh produce market. From a nutritional and culinary standpoint, canned potatoes offer surprising versatility. They provide essential carbohydrates for energy, along with potassium and dietary fiber. In a diet that might otherwise become repetitive, they can be used in countless ways. They can be mashed, fried into patties, added to soups and stews to make them more substantial, or roasted with other shelf-stable ingredients. This ability to transform a simple canned good into a variety of different meals is invaluable for maintaining morale during a prolonged emergency. While others may be focused on more glamorous or obvious prep items, the quiet wisdom of stocking up on canned potatoes offers a powerful advantage. They are the unsung heroes of the pantry, providing a reliable, versatile, and long-lasting foundation for any serious food storage plan. 4. Liquid gold. The enduring power of honey. Honey is far more than just a natural sweetener. It is one of history's most remarkable survival foods, and its value is poised to skyrocket as our modern food systems become more uncertain. The golden liquid found in jars on supermarket shelves represents a complex intersection of agriculture, ecology, and global trade, all of which are currently facing significant threats. The pressures on honey production are mounting, from collapsing bee populations to widespread product fraud, making pure raw honey an increasingly rare and precious commodity. For those with an eye on long-term preparedness, understanding these dynamics is key. Honey is not just a food, it is a multi-purpose tool for survival, a store of value, and a natural medicine, making it an indispensable asset in any emergency stockpile. The most critical threat to the world's honey supply is the alarming decline of bee populations. Honeybees are the engine of both honey production and global agriculture, responsible for pollinating roughly 1/3 of the food we eat. However, bee colonies are collapsing at an unprecedented rate due to a phenomenon known as colony collapse disorder, driven by a combination of pesticides, parasites like the vira mite, habitat loss, and climate change. Unpredictable weather patterns, such as late frosts or prolonged droughts, disrupt the flowering seasons of plants, reducing the nectar available for bees to collect. This ecological crisis has a direct and devastating impact on honey harvests. Beekeepers around the world are reporting lower yields, and in some cases, total hive losses. This scarcity of domestically produced honey forces suppliers to rely more heavily on imports, which come with their own set of problems. The global honey market is notoriously rife with fraud and adulteration. As pure honey becomes more expensive and harder to source, a massive black market has emerged for counterfeit products. Unscrupulous producers dilute real honey with cheap sweeteners like corn syrup, rice syrup, or beet sugar, which are difficult to detect without sophisticated lab testing. These fraudulent products are often shipped from one country to another to obscure their origin before being imported into markets like North America and Europe. This means that a significant portion of the honey sold in commercial stores may lack the very properties that make real honey so valuable. True raw honey contains beneficial enzymes, pollen, and antibacterial compounds that are destroyed by pasteurization and filtering. The prevalence of fake honey not only deceives consumers, but also undermines honest beekeepers, making it even harder to sustain local high-quality production. For survival purposes, the unique properties of genuine honey make it unparalleled. It is one of the only foods on Earth that never spoils. Archaeologists have discovered pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are thousands of years old and still perfectly edible. This incredible longevity is due to its natural acidity, low moisture content, and the presence of hydrogen peroxide, which create an environment where bacteria cannot survive. This makes honey the ultimate long-term storage food. Beyond its role as a calorie-dense sweetener, honey has powerful medicinal applications. Its antibacterial and anti-inflammatory properties make it an effective treatment for wounds, burns, and sore throats, an invaluable resource when conventional medical supplies may be unavailable. As the ecological and economic pressures on honey production intensify, securing a supply of pure, raw, and preferably local honey is one of the smartest investments you can make in your long-term security. It is a timeless, multi-purpose resource that will only become more valuable as other systems fail. 5. The resilient protein, powdered eggs, strategic advantage. For many, the idea of powdered eggs conjures images of military rations or old-fashioned camping trips. However, in an era of increasing supply chain fragility, this shelf-stable powerhouse is rapidly becoming one of the most intelligent and strategic investments for any serious preparedness plan. Fresh eggs are a nutritional cornerstone, packed with high-quality protein and essential nutrients, but their supply chain is notoriously volatile, subject to disruptions that can cause prices to soar and availability to vanish almost overnight. Powdered eggs offer a powerful solution, providing the same nutritional benefits in a format that is resilient, long-lasting, and independent of the fragile cold chain that fresh eggs rely upon. The fresh egg market is perpetually on a knife's edge. In recent years, it has been battered by a series of crises, most notably recurring outbreaks of avian influenza. These outbreaks have forced the culling of tens of millions of birds, decimating poultry populations and causing immediate and dramatic shortages. When supply plummets, prices skyrocket, placing a basic protein source out of reach for many families. Beyond disease, the industry is also vulnerable to rising operational costs. The price of animal feed, which is tied to volatile grain markets, and the expense of transportation, influenced by fluctuating fuel costs, add further pressure. These factors create a cycle of instability where availability and affordability can change drastically from one week to the next. This inherent vulnerability is precisely why powdered eggs are moving from a niche product to a mainstream necessity. The production of powdered eggs elegantly sidesteps these vulnerabilities. Through a process of spray drying, fresh eggs are dehydrated into a fine powder, preserving their nutritional content while removing the moisture that leads to spoilage. The result is a product that can be stored in an airtight container for up to a decade, requiring no refrigeration or special handling. This inherent stability is a game changer. It disconnects a vital protein source from the need for a constant and uninterrupted power supply and the complexities of refrigerated transport. For manufacturers and distributors, this reduces waste and logistical costs. For consumers, it provides a reliable and predictable source of protein that will be there when the fresh egg aisle is empty. This reliability has not gone unnoticed. Demand has surged from bakeries, food manufacturers, and relief organizations seeking a stable ingredient, putting further pressure on global supplies. From a practical survival perspective, powdered eggs are a model of efficiency and versatility. A small, lightweight container holds the equivalent of several dozen eggs, making it an incredibly space-efficient way to store a large amount of protein. Reconstituting them is simple, requiring only the addition of water. Once rehydrated, they can be used just like fresh eggs, scrambled for a hot breakfast, incorporated into baking recipes to provide structure and richness, or added to soups and other dishes to boost their protein content. This flexibility is invaluable in a long-term crisis, allowing for culinary variety and ensuring that nutritional needs are met. While others may face the uncertainty of the fresh egg market, those who have invested in powdered eggs will have a secure and dependable source of one of nature's most perfect foods. 6. The all-in-one meal, canned soups and stews. Canned soups and stews have long been a fixture in pantries, valued for their convenience on busy weeknights. Today, their role is evolving into something far more critical. As we witness growing instability in our food supply, energy grids, and economic systems, these ready-to-eat meals are becoming a cornerstone of practical emergency preparedness. They represent a complete, self-contained, nutritional solution that requires minimal resources to prepare, making them one of the most valuable assets to have when other systems fail. Their affordability, Long shelf life and ease of use ensure they will be one of the first items to disappear from stores when public anxiety rises, making now the time to secure your supply. The single greatest advantage of canned soups and stews in a crisis is their all-in-one nature. Each can contain a balanced meal of protein, carbohydrates, vegetables, and fats, already cooked and preserved. This is a profound benefit in situations where time, fuel, and clean water are scarce. Unlike dried goods that require lengthy cooking times and significant amounts of water, a canned stew can be eaten cold straight from the can, providing immediate sustenance. If a heat source is available, it can be warmed in minutes, offering the psychological comfort of a hot meal with minimal fuel consumption. This feature is particularly crucial during power outages or in scenarios where you must conserve your cooking fuel for the long term. This self-reliance makes canned meals a far more practical choice for many situations than complex freeze-dried options. The supply chain that brings these canned meals to our shelves is facing mounting pressure. The production of metal cans, primarily steel and aluminum, is an energy-intensive process. Persistently high energy costs, particularly in manufacturing hubs, have driven up the price of the packaging itself. This is compounded by logistical hurdles. Global shipping has become less predictable and more expensive due to geopolitical tensions and bottlenecks at major canals, delaying the transport of both raw materials and finished goods. Inside the can, the ingredients are also subject to their own supply challenges. Weather-related crop failures for vegetables like carrots and potatoes, along with rising costs for meat, mean that soup manufacturers are paying more for every component. These combined costs are inevitably passed on to consumers, and we are already seeing steady price increases for even the most basic canned soups. For anyone building a food reserve, canned soups and stews offer a layer of security that is hard to replicate. They provide variety in an emergency diet, preventing the palate fatigue that can come from eating the same staples repeatedly. Different varieties from hearty beef stew to lentil soup offer a range of flavors and nutritional profile. This is not just a matter of comfort. Maintaining morale is a critical aspect of navigating any long-term crisis, and a satisfying meal can make a significant difference. While store shelves may appear well-stocked today, distributors are already cautioning retailers about longer lead times for restocking. In every recent emergency, from pandemics to natural disasters, these simple ready-to-eat meals were among the first things to vanish. Stocking up now is a simple, logical step to ensure you have a reliable, no-fuss source of nutrition waiting for you when you need it most. 7. The shelf-stable harvest, dried fruit's vital role. Dried fruit is often perceived as a simple snack or a baking ingredient, but its true value in a preparedness context is immense. As fresh produce becomes more expensive and its availability less certain, these dehydrated nutritional powerhouses serve as a vital link to essential vitamins, minerals, and fiber. The journey of fruit from orchard to dried package is a global one, and the supply chain is currently being squeezed by a combination of extreme weather, logistical nightmares, and rising production costs. For anyone planning for a future of potential scarcity, dried fruit is not a luxury. It is a compact, long-lasting, and indispensable nutritional resource. The core challenge facing the dried fruit market begins in the fields and orchards. Fruit cultivation is highly dependent on stable weather patterns, and climate change has made those patterns a thing of the past. Major growing regions for grapes, apricots, and figs, such as California and the Mediterranean, have been battered by a cycle of intense droughts, heat waves, and water restrictions. These conditions drastically reduce crop yields and impact the quality of the fruit. When harvests are poor, there is less raw product available for drying and processing. This scarcity naturally drives up the cost of the fruit before it even enters the supply chain, making the final product more expensive for everyone. The reliance on a few key agricultural regions for specific fruits, like dates from the Middle East, makes the entire system vulnerable to localized crises. Once the fruit is harvested, it faces a new set of challenges in processing and transportation. The dehydration process itself is energy-intensive, and rising energy costs add another layer of expense for producers. Furthermore, the industry is grappling with persistent shortages and price hikes for packaging materials, from the plastic film used for bags to the cardboard for boxes. After packaging, the product must be shipped across the globe. International freight remains a major bottleneck, with port congestion, fuel costs, and geopolitical instability creating delays and increasing costs. A shipment of Turkish apricots or Iranian dates that once took weeks to arrive in North America can now be held up for months, leading to inconsistent stock on store shelves. These cumulative pressures mean that the price of dried fruit is on a steady upward trend, and variety is diminishing. From a survival standpoint, dried fruit is an incredibly efficient nutritional delivery system. The dehydration process removes water, concentrating the fruit's natural sugars, fiber, and nutrients into a small, lightweight package. This makes it an excellent source of quick energy and essential vitamins like potassium and vitamin A, which can be hard to obtain when fresh options are unavailable. Its low moisture content gives it a long shelf life, allowing it to be stored for a year or more without refrigeration. Dried fruit can be eaten as is for a morale-boosting snack, rehydrated for use in cooking, or added to oatmeal and breads to enhance their nutritional value. It is the perfect bridge food, providing the vital nutrients of fresh fruit in a stable, long-lasting format. 8. The universal tool, white vinegar's hidden power. In the vast world of preparedness supplies, few items can match the sheer versatility and understated power of simple white vinegar. Often relegated to the back of the cleaning cabinet or pantry, this acidic liquid is, in fact, a multi-purpose workhorse that becomes exponentially more valuable in a crisis. It is not a food in the traditional sense, but its applications in food preservation, sanitation, and household management make it an indispensable tool for self-reliance. The production of vinegar is tied to the same agricultural and industrial systems that are currently under strain, making this cheap, everyday commodity something to secure before it becomes another scarce and expensive resource. The foundation of vinegar production relies on raw materials like grain and corn, which are converted into ethanol and then fermented. These same grains are at the center of the global food crisis, with their prices climbing due to poor harvests, increased demand for biofuels, and geopolitical conflicts. As the cost of these base commodities rises, so does the cost of producing vinegar. The industrial ethanol supply chain is also subject to competing demands. When fuel production ramps up, the supply available for vinegar manufacturers can be squeezed. Combined with the now familiar challenges of rising transportation and packaging costs, the economics of this humble product are shifting. What was once one of the cheapest liquids on the supermarket shelf is quietly becoming more expensive, a trend that is likely to accelerate as its core ingredients become more contested. The true value of vinegar in a survival context lies in its incredible range of uses. First and foremost, it is a master of food preservation. Pickling is one of the oldest and most reliable methods for extending the life of fresh produce. In a scenario where you have a garden harvest or a lucky find of vegetables, vinegar is the key ingredient that allows you to preserve that food for months to come without needing a freezer or a pressure canner. It can also be used to wash fruits and vegetables, helping to remove pesticides, wax, and bacteria. This function is critical when the safety and cleanliness of your food sources might be in question. A small amount of vinegar can help extend the freshness of certain foods, making every calorie count. Beyond the kitchen, vinegar is a powerful, non-toxic cleaning and disinfecting agent. In a situation where commercial cleaners and sanitizers may be unavailable or prohibitively expensive, vinegar offers a safe and effective alternative. Its acidic acid content allows it to kill a wide range of bacteria and viruses, making it perfect for sanitizing surfaces, cleaning food preparation areas, and even as a component of DIY personal hygiene products. It can be used to purify water containers, treat minor fungal infections, and even as a fabric softener. This incredible utility from a single, shelf-stable product is almost unparalleled. Storing several gallons of white vinegar is one of the highest value preparations you can make. It is a universal tool that provides security in food preservation, health, and hygiene, a quiet guardian for a self-reliant household.